Hi guys, thanks for staying. I'm gonna make this speech important, because it's worth the wait. So in 2000, it's the same place Steve Jobs issued the Mac OS X version, and let's use a word from him. Let's create some history today. So I'm gonna talk about Boules algorithm. So Boules algorithm is a new consensus algorithm behind EON. So what is EON? It's basically EOS network. So EOS network is based on EOS community. We're going to build a cloud computing facilities and platform for all the EOS developers. And eventually, we're going to have a new generation of EOS, a much quicker way based on this new algorithm. So I'm going to introduce who we are and what we do. So as I said, EOS is an open protocol to build a low latency, high throughput, and secure blockchain-based cloud computing applications. So that's exactly the thing we're lacking of right now. So for Ethereum community, we have Solidity, but it has really a lot of shortcomings and security holes that we discover day and day. So we're going to put an end to that. So we're an intelligent, high-speed distributed network, and it will redefine the set of distributed internet protocols, which shakes off the shackles of traditional blockchain thinking, and is no longer limited to distributed systems. So we're going to mix a lot of things together. What makes this story more interesting is EON is created to make developers happy. So we're basically AWS for EOS developers. We provide everything. We provide an IDE. We provide the file storage. We provide a GitHub kind of community that people can work together and collaborate. So we're also providing the P2P networks, cloud storage, DNS, and decentralized version of DNS and Tor. So everything the developers would need to easily migrate from their legacy systems. So EON is the brainchild of Sino-FinTech team. So we're a small team started in Silicon Valley since 2012. So we're a bunch of experts in blockchain AI and big data. So our teams consist of top cryptography scientists and software engineers. So we're working globally. Now we have offices in San Francisco. We have offices in Shanghai, and Beijing, and Singapore. So you can Google us, Sino-FinTech or EON, or visit our website. Here we go. It's pretty easy, just the same as the URL. So what is consensus anyway? So I think there's going to be another topic about this tomorrow coming, but let's brief it today because it's kind of important. So what is consensus anyway? Why should I talk about consensus? Why am I speaking here? Because I am speaking here so that I hope you guys would agree with me. So that agreement is a consensus. Why we need a consensus? Because as a human society, if we want to do anything, we need to agree with each other. So in the scientific terms, we have the second law of thermodynamics, which basically says the entropy of the universe will keep constant or growing. But if we want it, make it larger, we need some inner peace to make it this effective. So we need an inner peace to bring down our inside entropy so that we can make this world a little bit messier. And that's the whole thing about the meaning of the life, I guess, to put a dent on the universe. So why should we care about the blockchain consensus? So how we reach consensus basically determines how we organize as a society. So blockchain is the OS, is the future version of the OS that people work with each other. So that's the key thing. That's the software. Blockchain is the software that's becoming our society. It's just not distributed systems. It's a social ecosystem and social OS for human beings to work with each other. So for human society, perception is the truth, and perception is the public consensus, the common belief, and belief is everything. So for blockchain scenario, consensus is the reality itself. So for blockchain, we have certain scenarios. The first one is for the private chains. We're going to have very strong consistency, but we're going to have relatively low safety because everything concentrating together. And for now, for the blockchain, we have level 3. We have a very high guarantee for the safety, but to get that, we sacrifice our ability, or to say the liveliness, or the scalability, the performance. Either Bitcoins or Ethereums, they have very slow network performance. So for Bitcoin, it's 7 TPS, transactions per second. For Ethereum, it might be 15 in average right now. So don't have time to go through all of this. You guys will have a much more detailed session tomorrow, but it's basically, for now, we have various algorithms based on how the machines and human work together to create this consensus. All of them have their advantages, but all of them have their shortcomings. So why yet another consensus algorithm? So basically, if we want to build a cloud computing platform, one protocol is not enough. We need more than one. One ring to rule them all is not a very good idea. For different scenarios, for different situations, we need so many more options. We need centralized, decentralized, hybrid infrastructure. So most of the consensus algorithms are optimized for financial transactions, but not necessarily in future. So we need another one. We need an ecosystem that mixes everything together. So we have a certain patterns that come in. We see a lot of very cool technologies like off-chain sharding, parallel, cross-chain side chains, and the AI support, more enhanced version of the security and privacy and governance. And that's what we're working on so that we can have a more robust, mature, and cooler blockchain system. So Boule algorithm is our core thing. That's what makes the EON awesome. So EON is enabled with Boule algorithm so that it can provide millions of TPS, transactions per second, to support all the cloud computing, to make this possible. So how can we compete with a data center from Amazon? How can we build AWS from scratch using blockchain? Because of this little guy here. So for the Boule algorithm, we have 3 pillars. We have 3 pillars. So first one is called hierarchical sharding. So hierarchical sharding is basically the B tree equivalent for blockchain system. So we don't just are limited to one chain. We're basically put the chain together, so we make the shardings, and then we cut them into the pieces using the tree structure. And then for the second, we're using VRF, or basically have 3 stages. So for each of those, the shardings, which we call the Boule itself, so each sharding, you guys notice the algorithm here? So all those big boxes are what we call the Boule itself. So it's also a shard. In terms of the Ethereum, it's a shard. So we have the mathematical VRF, verifiable random function, and we're using Byzantine fault tolerance, PBFT, to achieve consensus. And then we're using the Definity kind of concept of threshold relay to find the next batch of the random nodes within the Boule. So that's the core concept of the Boule algorithm. So all the nodes that make the election, or all the nodes that reaching the connection within a single shard, and they will do the multiple signature. They will do the multiple signature. Just prove that they do the certifications. So built on those, we have all the wonderful things that are coming out. We have a high-performance blockchain. We have the P2P network that different nodes talk to each other. And we have the storage service. And we have the decentralized version of Tor. We have a decentralized version of DHT. It's called distributed hash table. It's basically a Redis-like key value storage, but it's all decentralized. And we have the decentralized DNS system so that we can find the technical resources in the blockchain very easily, not necessarily limited to what the central authority, the DNS server tells you so. It also helps to solve the DDoS attack. So we also have the payment here and messenger, everything that AWS gives you. We build this on our blockchain. So all the user scenarios, we keep the code integrity. So you guys have seen the newest episode of Silicon Valley, right? So Gilfile is worried about the integrity of his code, and Richard is worried about the backing up the systems. And Rick and Morty, they want the Sichuan sauce back. So how can we get all those things from the blockchain? So we need a very robust version of the cloud computing that you don't need a AWS to store everything, because that will cost you a lot. And then they promise you 1 GB of storage, even if you don't use that, and they still charge you for that maximum amount. That's not fair. That's called a monopoly. So yeah, I give you an overview of the concept, the thing we're working on. So in brief, so EON is a community token that's already in the exchange. That's in circulation right now. It's in Dragon Exchange, and it's in Gate.io, and 2 other smaller exchanges. We don't need ICO. We're building the awesome technology behind that. We might have more private rounds that are coming, but we're not rushing to do that yet. But if you have any great technical ideas, please talk to us. You can write an email or talk to me personally or at my WeChat. That's pretty much all it is. Thank you so much. So threshold relay is used by Dfinity. So Dfinity has similar concept, but they're building based on the foundation of Ethereum community. But we're doing that for EOS community. We're starting with the EOS community, but we're expanding to more, even if the Ethereum itself and Bitcoins. So for the threshold relay, for Dfinity, they're doing that for the whole blockchain, the whole chain. That will make this algorithm, their algorithm, a little bit less performant than what we have. Because what we do is within a certain shard, with a single shard. So within that certain Boule, what we call the shard Boule, that's the Greek word for community. So it's pretty much a very small group of nodes, maybe less than 100. So that make the algorithm performs super well. It doesn't take a lot of time to get next random batch, because all the POW and POS is to find the randomness and finality. Does that help? No problem. Any other questions?
Yeah, quick question. So it looks like you try
Hold on one second.
Great talk. Yeah, it looks like you create kind of a Amazon, right, cloud service using blockchain. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Amazon AWS has that, and also Azure from Microsoft is building that too. And from China, I think Alibaba and Tencent have their own version of the so-called blockchain as a service, or BaaS. But I think it's a contradictory idea to have the cloud, to have the blockchain building on the cloud. Why you need a blockchain in the cloud? Because basically, either you need a blockchain as a cloud, or you need a cloud. Because unless certain scenarios, for example, like traceability or non-modifying requirements, I don't think blockchain as a service is real direction of the technology evolution. And I strongly believe that blockchain itself as a tech infrastructure will be the future direction to go. Not like, we're not doing minor changes. I think blockchain is going to be the future. It's going to be the human version of OS. That's why we call it the cyber societal system or cyber societal OS for human. Does it help? Thank you. Any other questions? It's kind of late, so appreciate it. Last question.
Yeah. I enjoyed your remarks and your last comment. I was just wondering how you think about sort of creating very sustainable systems that really think about institutions that we need that facilitate a lot of this growth, because otherwise it's not possible if we don't have the right institutions.
By institutions, you mean like the existing big corporations?
Well, sort of like the self-governance of the whole industry and the system. And yeah.
OK, so I think blockchain is a decentralization technology. We have blockchain so that we don't need a third party to authorize, to give us permissions. So I think blockchain is going to be the new form of collaboration between humans. So in the long term, I think the cyber OS and human OS will become one. And that's where the singularity happens. And for now, I think there are going to be a lot of dramatic changes for existing organizations. And based on my knowledge, the banking system and big corporations are spending a lot of money delving into this technology to help them to get better profit. But I think the true thing to enable individuals and enable the small teams to help them to innovate, to help them to grow their ideas, even to shoot a shuttle to moon, doing what Elon Musk is doing based on blockchain. We should be more brave. We should not like put the limit in our horizon. I think blockchain is the solution that we can put those ideas to test. At least we should have that vision in our mind. Does that help? Nope. Yes. OK, cool. Yeah, I think that's a fabulous session with you guys. Thank you for staying so late for this speech. If you have any technology or any other business questions, just write to us, and I'm more than happy to connect. Thank you so guys.